Ceresit Building Materials business has more than 110 years of experience. Tradition and progress go hand in hand to provide the construction industry with innovative products of the highest quality. To date, millions of facade square meters all over the world have been successfully insulated with Ceresit Ceretherm systems. This goes both for large city buildings as well as for family houses. The insulating properties and durability of Ceresit external thermal insulation systems follow strict European regulations and are appropriately certified. These systems are being constantly improved by introducing state-of-the-art technologies that are researched and developed in our International Innovation Center. That is why investors, whether large or small, can rest assured that these systems significantly optimize the energy consumption of the building and improve the overall comfort for the occupants. Ceresit finishes also add the main design element to the external appearance of the building. See how to properly install external thermal insulation system on a single-family house. Preparation. First, evaluate the geometry of the facade by using a spirit level or laser level. Start with fixing the starting profile. To do so, mark a horizontal line. When fixing the starting profile in the corners of the building, cut it precisely to size and adjust it to the corner. Cut the starting profile without breaking its external vertical fragment. The bottom insulation edge of the building is now protected, which is very helpful when installing the insulation boards. To fix the starting profile on an uneven substrate, you may need to use spacer washers. Now, install window profiles along the edges where the insulation is in contact with the window or door frame. These frames should be reinforced by angle profiles with a factory-mounted mesh strip. The profiles are fixed to the window frames by self-adhesive strips. Fixing the insulation material. Measure the required amount of clean water. Pour the content of the bag and stir it well. Clean the stir with water, and after a few minutes mix the mortar once again. The mass should be homogeneous without lumps. Then use the testing insulation material cubes to check the performance of the substrate. Apply ready-to-use mortar with a trowel, forming a stripe of 3 to 4 centimeters width along the edges of the board. In the middle of the board, add a few spots of mortar. When ready, place the board against the wall and press. Adhere the boards tight and flush to each other, checking the geometry with a spirit level. At the corners of the building, the boards must be fixed in a brick-like manner. Make sure the boards are precisely adjusted around the windows. This is to avoid cracks in the final layers. The boards around the window corners must be cut in an L shape to ensure the maximum isolating efficiency. After cutting, clean and smooth all surfaces. Apply the mortar, forming a strip along the edges, and, if necessary, add some spots in the middle. Then adhere the board to the wall, pressing it home with a long float. Such boards guarantee the optimum adhesive surface, which maximize the isolating efficiency. When mounting insulation boards around the windows, remember to fix them with precision. The gaps should be filled with the PU adhesive or low-expanding PU foam, such as CT84, which has enhanced thermal insulation properties. Now, cut away the excess adhesive, and then smooth off the uneven edges. For mechanical fixation of the insulation boards, use fasteners. Insert these into the drilled holes. The required fixing depth depends on mechanical fastener's type. For maximum efficiency and safety when fixing the anchors, the drilling holes must be suitable for the material of the bearing layer. Make sure to avoid strong strokes when drilling into thin partition materials. The board should be fixed with minimum 4 fasteners per 1 square meter and 2 in the middle of each board. Check the geometry once again and make sure that the fasteners don't stick out of the surface. Along the edges of the building, the number of fasteners should be increased to at least 8 per 1 square meter. The type, number, and arrangement of the fasteners have to be determined by the constructor. The edges of the buildings, as well as window and door openers, should be protected with corner profiles with reinforcement mesh. All PVC, aluminum, or stainless steel profiles are to be fixed with an adhesive mortar. When installing such profiles at a corner, mesh overlaps are required. All corners on the facade's window and door frames need to be reinforced with strips of glass fiber mesh. The edges of the building should also be reinforced in the same way. Use CT85 adhesive mortar for fixing corner profiles. When connecting two pieces of corner profiles, remember that the mesh strips must be overlapped by approximately 10 centimeters. Reinforcing layer application. Prepare the suitable reinforcement mortar. Apply a uniform mortar layer with a long float. Use a notched trowel in order to control the thickness of the layer. Place the mesh into the fresh mortar and press it down with a long steel float. Remember that the mesh strips must be overlapped by approximately 10 centimeters. The mesh should be embedded in the middle of the mortar bed. And then the surface smoothened with a long steel float. If necessary, after approximately 24 hours, you can apply additional 1 mm thick smoothing layer of the same reinforced mortar. Priming paint application. When the mesh reinforced layer is completely dry, prime the whole surface. Plaster and paint application. Ceresit acrylic, silicate, silicone, silicate silicone, and elastomeric plasters are in form of ready-to-use mass. Apply a thin layer using a long steel float. Then, smooth the surface to skim off any excess material. The freshly applied plaster should be structured by PVC trowel. Prevent the plaster from sticking to the tool by continually floating it. Make circular movements until the required surface has been achieved. Before applying plaster of a different color, stick self-adhesive tape along a predefined line. Then the plaster can be applied and floated. When the application is finished, remove the tape together with the excess material. The dried plasters can then be painted with Ceresit facade paints. You can decide on a different color around the windows. Creating the two-color facade. For additional decorative effects, take advantage of VISAGE special products. To create a stone-like pattern, start with CT16 priming paint, and then use one of the dedicated stencils. Stick the template to the wall and press it firmly. Now, apply a thin layer of the plaster. To achieve different textures, you may use different techniques of application. When the plaster is still wet, carefully remove the stencil along with any excess material. The other method is to apply the plaster with a spray machine. This creates a flat texture of the decorative elements and also makes the work easier and faster. the effect of using a spray gun looks impressive. Well done! Enjoy your new facade.